Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson today. We're listening to Interrogation Raw, and this is Murderous Friendship.
News5 has been on the case of Taylor Wright.
The private investigator has been missing for more than a month.
The mother and former cop disappears without a trace.
We found a handgun that was missing around. She knew how to cover her tracks. She knew how to hide.
Is she a victim of foul play, or did she run away?
She would have never just left her son.
Someone is hiding the truth.
Something's happened. Hello. I don't know where she is.
I'll take one of them. Investigators searching for answers.
We keep pressing and pressing.
In the interrogation room.
I don't know. You need to tell us what you know. They are not going to find him.
Every suspect accused of a crime has the right to remain silent. Many agree to be interrogated anyway, but they can stop the interview at any moment, making it a race against time. Justice hangs in the balance.
Authorities say the search for Taylor Wright is ongoing. She is 5 feet 6 inches tall with brown hair. If anyone sees her or has any information of her whereabouts, you're asked to contact police.
Taylor's girlfriend, Cassandra Waller, said, "Hey, my girlfriend who's living with me hasn't come home. I'm just concerned about her welfare." Cassandra said it wasn't normal for Taylor to just come up missing and not respond to text messages or phone calls.
According to Cassandra, the day Taylor Wright disappeared, her friend Ashley MacArthur picked her up at approximately 10 a.m. They were going to run some errands.
And then Taylor, at the end of the day, vanished.
Taylor Wright was a 33-year-old mother of a small child. She was a former law enforcement officer, currently working as a private investigator.
With Taylor's law enforcement background, if she was attacked, she would have some knowledge on what to do, and she probably knew how to hide. So I began questioning, is she missing because she wants to be missing, or was she harmed? We had to travel down each of those roads to try to figure out exactly what happened. If she did want to up and leave, it's not against the law for an adult. People do it all the time. But the first thing that we did was attempt to find out everything about Taylor. We found laptops, Taylor's passport, IDs. We found a cashier's check that was made payable to her for $19,000. Things that if you were trying to hide, you would probably take with you. You've got to have money. You've got to have ID to do just about anything. It's not as easy as people make it sound, to where you can just up and vanish. That's very hard for someone to do in today's world. We also found a handgun, a 6-shot revolver that had 5 rounds in it. So it was missing a round. That did make us think that maybe Cassandra is involved in the disappearance of Taylor. At that point, we began to be concerned that this ain't just a normal missing persons case, that something is wrong, and we really need to figure out where Taylor's at.
Taylor Wright was a very, very good friend of mine, and she was an amazing person. She absolutely loved law enforcement. I mean, as a police officer, Taylor was fearless. She would go into neighborhoods, try to find drugs, try to find guns. When I met Taylor, she was married to an HF. He was an officer in the Marine Corps, and he was deployed a lot, but they eventually had a little boy named Drake. Taylor loved being a mom. It was amazing to see her transition from the police officer that was hardcore to the mom, Taylor. It was beautiful to see. A little bit after Jeff got military orders down to Florida. From what I understand, a lot of issues started once they moved, and they ended up divorcing. She ended up meeting Cassandra, and they ended up moving in together and falling in love.
For Taylor, everything was going great. She had a great relationship with her new girlfriend. She was successful in her job. Up and vanished. It just typically doesn't happen.
When I found out Taylor was missing, it was shock because I know how close she was with Drake. She would have never just left him like that. Something's wrong.
There's several people we have to look at first that are in her inner circle, whether it be Cassandra Waller, who is the current girlfriend, whether it be Jeff Wright, who is the ex-husband. We were able to rule out Jeff Wright pretty quick as a person of interest. Based on knowing where he works, we're able to confirm that he was at work at that time. So that left Cassandra.
This is your personal stuff. If you're okay with that, just let me know.
So while the detectives are interviewing her, I'm going through her cell phone.
The last day that y'all were together, can you kind of walk me through that day?
She made me breakfast. She made me like eggs and bacon and stuff. And she was in no hurry for anything. You know, just like a normal morning. I said, we'll go to the grocery store. I'll pick up some stuff. We'll have wings tonight. And that was that. She was like, okay, well, Ash's coming over. We're gonna go to Ash's bank. We're gonna pick up my money and stuff out of the ticket phone book. So as I was getting in my car, Ash had pulled up, and I was like, all right, you know, we have a weekend. I love you. All right, Molly. Yeah, plans, everything, well. But when Taylor wouldn't text me back, I said, Ash, and I was like, Ash, like, where are you guys at? Because I thought that they were still on the road. The only thing I knew was something. Ash called me. Ash was like, hey, we're at my mom's house, which is up in Milton. Stay on the phone. She was like, you know, Taylor broke down and cried twice today. I'm like, what is that? So she was like, she's on the horse right now. I'll tell her to call you when she gets off. I texted Taylor a couple more times, no responses. A little bit after that, like 7:58, Taylor sent me a text. I'm mad at you. I should have called. I need some time to think. I'm trying to get my life organized with our contract. And like I kept texting her back, like, please, like, whatever it is.
While speaking with Cassandra, we learned about some issues they had in the past, potential infidelity issues. These issues could be the motive for Taylor being missing.
You know, we have to ask these questions. Have you ever suspected Ash and Taylor being involved? I've been talking to Taylor once before because I thought it was funny, like that they would give each other a kiss. You know, like I don't kiss my friends.
We really got to be careful how much we're poking and prodding because she could just get up and walk away.
When we were at the house, you told me you started logging into all our different bank accounts. Well, before I started getting into the bank accounts, first off, I'm not supposed to be responsible. No, you're, like I said, you're free to go whenever you want. I can't help but be scared that I'm going to get in trouble for something that I didn't know was funny. I didn't want her to know, like, I was trying to track and find her. Why is this really down on me?
When we're doing these interviews, we want them to feel uncomfortable to a point, but not so uncomfortable they don't want to talk to us. So it's a balance that we have to juggle. But at this point, an hour into the interview, we need to to start applying some pressure.
Do you know who harmed Taylor? If you knew who harmed her, would you tell us? Absolutely. She was down right now and you knew, would you tell us? I don't know. Harm her. She was. Did you harm her? Yes.
I think ultimately we have to ask that question, no matter how aggressive we are with it or not. We would not be doing our job if we didn't ask that question.
Do you think Ashley would have the capability or the means to harm Taylor? I don't know that well. I can't answer that. I don't know.
I'm going to Cassandra's cell phone. And I went in to get the detectives out to talk about what I'm learning through the phone. I can see there is communications about a bank and money and some other weird things that we didn't know about before.
Yeah. So, Taylor, it seemed like she was getting paranoid. She was talking about how she felt like something just wasn't right with Ashley. She wasn't sure if Ash had her money or not. Because Taylor's been trying to get the money out of Ash's safety deposit box. Taylor said for like 4 or 5 days. And I was like, Taylor, she's probably been really busy. And she goes, no, Cash. She goes, like, I'm telling her, something just doesn't feel right with me. I don't want to think this. Like, I want to give you guys, like, whatever you guys need. I can be so wrong. No, I'd rather you be wrong and have a feeling or know something. I don't want to be mad at me, though, because I, like, maybe accuse her of something. I don't even know anything.
That interview was huge because Cassandra said that Taylor had given Ashley money. The money was the biggest red flag that shifted this from a missing person to very suspicious activity, potentially a homicide investigation.
We'd have to consider Ashley MacArthur the potential suspect. Ashley was the last person to see Taylor, and Ashley was also holding on to this large sum of money that Taylor had asked her to hold.
Taylor had been going through a difficult court battle with her ex-husband over some finances that they shared while they were married. Just prior to Taylor going missing, she had taken approximately $100,000 out of a joint bank account that she should not have taken.
Of that $100,000, Taylor had given Ashley $34,000 to hold on to.
Cassandra said Taylor gave this check to Ashley because she has a safety deposit box she could put this check into. From looking at the text messages between Taylor and Ashley before she disappeared, Taylor kept asking Ashley, hey, I need that money back. I need to get the money back. I need to have it for court. The judge is making me get this money back. Ashley was pretty much blowing Taylor off. Cassandra told us that the day that Taylor went missing, she was expecting Ashley to pick her up, take her to the bank, get the money out of the safety deposit box, and everything be okay.
The purpose of the first interview is to let her tell us what she wants to tell us, whether it be the truth or a lie, but get something on video that we can begin to investigate.
Let's start with the last day that you saw her. Was what day? Friday. She came out, y'all left. Where'd you go after that?
I'm going to the gas station there to get a drink.
Okay. So where'd y'all go to the store? She was on the phone, and I went in the store, got a drink, and got her another beer.
You ever seen a drink at that time of day before? So odd behavior.
And in fact, I said that to her. I was like, beer at this time of the morning? She was like, let's never go out somewhere. I'm like,
it's a practical spot.
Ashley seemed to be bubbly, outgoing, wanted to tell us everything, somewhat flirtatious, not standoffish. We want to build friendly banter back and forth with her so she'll trust us.
Then where?
then we went, that's when we went to the farm.
Okay. And who owns that farm?
Not yet.
And y'all were out there for how long?
Probably maybe an hour.
Would you mind if we, what's it called?
Forensically examine your phone.
Yeah.
Basically just dumps the phone. We can see the numbers that are called.
Immediately when we ask her about her cell phone, you can see she starts getting a little bit more nervous. Actually, she adjusts the way she crosses her legs. You'll see she starts playing with the phone, and it is my belief that she is purposely trying to change her password there. She hands over her phone. We can see there are text messages about the safety deposit box, but then the phone locks up, so we can't access the file because we don't have the correct password. She gives us multiple different variations of passwords, and none of those worked. Yeah, that's a little weird. But we do need to start prying into why Ashley was holding on to this large sum of money that Taylor had asked her to hold on to. So we want to be able to keep this friendly, because at this point, she's free to go whenever she wants.
What were the rest of your plans today? So where'd you get that?
We went back to my house, I believe.
Yeah, what was your purpose for going back there?
To get any of the papers that I had for her and the money and stuff for her.
So the money was being kept at your house?
Right.
How long had the money been being kept there?
It was only there for a few days.
Did y'all end up getting that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this whole thing about a safety deposit box of yours, you know anything about that?
Well, Taylor wanted to get a safety deposit box initially, but she didn't want her name or anything to be on anything that Jeff signed. So I was like, we'll just keep it and give it to you or whatever, because I don't know why she didn't keep it. She has a safe.
Yeah, it's odd. Has she asked before that at any point to go get the money?
Yeah, and I have been super busy that week because of what we had done before that, the week before, and I had just 8-9 things going on.
Do you own a safety deposit box?
I don't.
This was kind of curious to us because Cassandra said that Taylor thought Ashley had a safety deposit box, but Ashley said she didn't have a safety deposit box. That was another reason to throw a red flag in the case. Why would someone give us a false story? Other than if they're trying to hide something.
Authorities say Wright is listed as a missing person in the National Crime Information Center. If anyone has any information, you're asked to contact police.
When I found out that she was missing, it was a very bad feeling. You know, it was the gut punch of something's wrong, this isn't right, this isn't normal.
Do you know who owned Taylor?
No, I don't know that she's been hurt. I think Taylor is thinking what Taylor does.
Do you own her?
No, I didn't.
We directly asked her if she harmed Taylor. Her body language didn't change any. She tells us no. So we moved on to the next question.
Did she ever talk about where she would go if she wanted to hide?
She never talked to me about hiding. She talked to somebody, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was Kat, that she could just disappear if she wanted to. But Taylor appears to be the chameleon that, like, changes or shapeshifts to whatever person she's around and whatever impression she needs to give them.
That's a little weird to be talking negative about your friend who's missing. It added to my suspicion. I think maybe she was just trying to throw us off on another track.
So these things just sometimes take time. We want to go over every little thing and try to get that.
Confusing. I mean, it's hard to keep it together.
You provided a lot of information that we didn't know where the money came from.
Well, range. I mean, it's just so convoluted. And who knows? Like, that's the thing. Like, everybody gets different pieces of some sort of something.
Well, she's going around telling all of y'all different things.
Right.
And that's why we have to talk to every single person and go through things so detailed, because each person may have one little small piece that can end up giving us a clue on this to where she may be.
We thought we had at least a good starting point. She gave us a timeline, and we got her locked into some kind of statement to start working to corroborate or prove that it's all a lie.
When we heard about this safety deposit box and the $34,000 Taylor gave to Ashley to hold, the first thing that we did was subpoena Ashley's bank for all the records. We learned two things from this. One, we confirmed she didn't have a safety deposit box at Wells Fargo. Second, I could see a deposit for $34,000 come into Ashley's bank account. And the following day, that money is transferred out into various accounts. That deposit was taken down to zero within a day. That's an alert for law enforcement.
Also, when we got a copy of the cashier's check and looked at the signature on the back, it did not match any of Taylor Wright's signatures on other checks that she had cashed.
Those multiple lies show us that she is now involved in Taylor's disappearance.
When she missed her court date, we knew that something was wrong. We began really seriously thinking, like, okay, she's not just hiding out, because she would have gone to that court case immediately. We started doing all the physical searching. We were clearing the bayous with canine dogs. Went back and searched Cassandra Waller's house. We even used the dog to search Ashley's neighborhood. We were knocking on doors, talking to neighbors, handing out flyers.
At this point, we had pretty much agreed that this was going to be a homicide investigation, more than likely over money. Ashley left a trail of evidence for us to follow, and we did start breaking apart her story.
Instead of holding on to Taylor's $34,000 check like she was supposed to for safekeeping, Ashley deposited it into her account and then immediately began moving that money to various other accounts at her bank. We also discovered that Ashley had purchased a boat and a motorcycle for her boyfriend before Taylor disappeared. Ashley was married, but also had a boyfriend on the side. We have to look at everyone in her inner circle.
Can you tell us, do you have any idea where you're at?
Said something with Ashley.
Okay. Are you familiar with the missing persons case that we're working now?
Yeah. The Taylor, whatever it was.
Can you tell us a bit about your knowledge of her and any experiences you've had with her? You never met her? Okay. What has Ashley told you about her?
She told me she took a bunch of money and I'll tell you.
Your feelings on all this missing person and her talking to you, what's your thoughts?
There's more to the story. There's a reason I got her phone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. She's point blank said they are not going to find her. She took that money and left.
What do you think about that?
Don't make no sense. Girl ain't leave her kid.
How well do you trust Ashley?
I don't trust her at all.
No. You don't trust her at all?
Hell no. You know, she wouldn't give me no trouble, but I don't, as far as like I catch her too nearby.
During this investigation, we looked at cell phone records. Cell phone records can tell us where someone's been, even if they tell us it's somewhere else, right? The cell phone doesn't lie. We got information that showed us her story was completely false.
Cell phone data showed Ashley never went to Milton, Florida, where she says she went with Taylor. Actually, she was 30 miles away in Cantonment.
Why was she in Cantonment, an area that she never told us about, and she was there for hours? During the investigation, we learned that Ashley's family had a second farmhouse in Cantonment, right in the middle of where that cell phone was at for those hours. That was a huge break in the case because we figured that potentially is where Taylor's going to be.
That's when we knew, okay, we got the money missing, and now she's lying about where she had been. And what else is she lying to us about?
Before we ask you any questions, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You understand that?
She had no clue that we had her cell phone records, that we had subpoenaed the bank. So we wanted to confront her with everything that we had learned and break apart her lie. We decided to search the Cantonment property simultaneously with the interview, because if we did find Taylor, that's another thing that we could confront her with and also arrest her at the same time.
The ultimate goal is to get her to confess and tell us what took place.
Do you have any idea of anyone that we can get talked to? Has your mind changed at all? Do you feel any different? Have you thought about any other ways that this could have went down?
Not really. Have you ever had to sign her name to a check? To deposit it?
And do you recall how much the cashier's check was for?
Like 30-something.
And she or you deposited that?
I deposited that. I actually deposited all of this for her.
She's starting to realize that we got in her bank records, and she starts squirming around a little bit more, crossing her hands into her legs, and that's an indication that she's uncomfortable and not really liking that line of questioning.
I wanted to at some point go back over your timeline again, if you didn't mind. And the day that you last went missing. So you were at you said you went to school, graduated, right? What do you recall what school that was? And what did it all go to after that? So I went to farm.
We wanted to give her an opportunity to change her story. She didn't take it. She continued to lie.
When was the decision made you recall to go out there?
She just wanted to ride around.
You recall how you got out there, or which?
Interstate to 87.
That's your family's farm?
Right.
Okay.
She's here on her own free will. She could just get up and walk away. So you got to be careful not to push too hard. We're trying to keep her there long enough to where we can hopefully find Taylor's remains out at the farm.
Do you know how cell towers work and how phones communicate with cell towers? What happens is your phone is still communicating with the tower. That happens in this building. You're all does the best that I can. When me started wanting all the phone calls, you know, Taylor, right? There's some discrepancy. We know that we can go to help it. Not when you say you went that easy.
We knew she was lying, but we had to be careful not to push too hard because there's still information we want to extract from her. We move on past the question and plan to come back later on down the line.
I want to go back to the cow stuff. Yeah, that's why I think this is the. You know whose signature that is?
That's Taylor's name, but it doesn't really look like her signature.
Who maybe wrote her name on there by chance? Is that clearly Taylor's signature?
It looks like it.
It's a chess game. We're always thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead. So I know where I'm going. I'm running play after play after play, and she's not able to think as quick on her feet. She knew she was really backed up in a corner. Now I just keep pressing, and hopefully she'll eventually crack.
And the ability to plot all your phone calls for that day. Where you were. And it all starts at 9 to 5, okay? So 9 to 5, you're probably at home. Now, at 12:10, you are in here. We know that your aunt and uncle own the farm there on Brick Road. And it's showing that you're probably near that farm or not on that farm. This is the time when you tell us that you're probably in Milton or headed towards Milton. Because it's 12:10. What were y'all doing out there at this farm? We know y'all were there.
We did absolutely essentially what I had there that we can use a chain store, some kind of lockbox that she had.
Why would you not tell us that originally?
Because she I got you.
When we finally got her to admit that they were out at this farm in Cantonment and not at a farm in Milton, she placed herself and Taylor out there, which is a big deal because we needed to physically place her there in case we ultimately find Taylor out there.
So y'all left there, where'd y'all go?
With her pausing and dragging out her answer, it's just another indication of having to come up with another lie and have a reason on why she and Taylor are out there at the farm, which she's never told us about that.
I think something happened and you're trying to forget about it personally. Okay.
Here's the thing. You tell us that y'all went out to the road.
Right.
Honestly, did that happen?
Yes, it did.
So, you'll have cell phone things.
There should be no camera there.
I'm sure.
160 pages.
Oh, I understand.
You actually did go back out there at 2:45. And you're out there for quite a while. We get it.
So, really, in essence, you spent, it seems like at least a large portion of the majority of your day out here.
It wasn't, though. I mean, we were
Several hours.
here and
You're still there. You're still there.
it's a totally different Ashley at this point. She's pulled her leg in a lot closer to her body. She's kind of tucked her hands in between her legs, and she's nervous. At that point, we knew that we had her. We just needed to get her to tell us exactly what took place.
Where is Taylor? You can tell us what you said.
I don't know.
Tell me what you did to her.
I didn't do anything.
You said if she's at that farm, we're going to find her because we'll execute the search warrant out there right now.
But she's not going to be there.
Then where is she at?
I don't know where she is.
Where's her body at?
I don't know where she is.
She's dead though. You know that?
We're at the point in the interview where we just have to confront her. It was make or break time.
Give me for a second. Don't cross your legs for a second. Don't let us tell your story. Because this is going to tell us what happened.
Reaching over, moving her chair, and moving it really close is a way to try to break down that defensive posture, make her feel uncomfortable. She's either going to shut down or potentially tell us exactly what happened. We didn't know where Taylor was at that point, so I knew that there was a big risk. She could ask for an attorney and the interview would be over.
Don't let us tell them something that may not be true. Tell us what happened. I respect that. Sit down and right over there.
We had search and rescue dogs that can locate human remains. We had multiple ATVs. We had a dive team on standby. We didn't have Taylor. We needed Taylor to say that there was a homicide. A couple hours into the search, officers noticed an area that had some foliage on it that didn't really match. And when they moved the bushes and the branches, they could see what they thought was a human skull sticking up in a mix of what appeared to be potting soil and concrete. After we found the skull, we were able to put the skeletal remains together, and we actually found a necklace that Taylor had. That moment, I knew it was her. We could see that on the back of the skull, there was a bullet hole. So we knew that she had been shot in the back of the head. Once we confirmed it was Taylor, we got units over to Ashley's residence where we had her under surveillance, and we arrested her. We knew that Ashley had stopped off at a convenience store. So we went to that convenience store and pulled the surveillance footage. We could see Ashley inside that store. We could see Ashley's truck in the background, and we could tell that it looked like another person was in the passenger seat. So we believe that at this moment in time, Taylor was alive. Later in the investigation, we found surveillance video of Ashley buying concrete and potting soil, which matched the concrete and potting soil that was found on Taylor.
That video was definitely the nail in the coffin for Ashley MacArthur.
What we believe happened was Ashley took Taylor up to the farm of the cantonment, shot her in the back of the head, buried her in shallow grave, covered her body up with a mixture of concrete and potting soil, and left her.
I believe Ashley MacArthur felt backed into a corner because she did not have the money to give back to Taylor, and the only option she saw was to get rid of Taylor Wright. Ashley MacArthur had the motive to kill Taylor Wright, money. She had the opportunity to kill Taylor Wright. She did, in fact, kill Taylor Wright, and then she tried to cover it up.
Imagine you're on your sofa at home. Everybody take a deep breath. Here we go.
The interrogations gave the jury an insight to her ability to manipulate. They were able to show her lies and her deceit and her constant pointing the guilt away from her and toward anyone else.
My understanding is we have a verdict. Let's bring the jury.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Ashley MacArthur, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm as charged in the indictment.
When it all came together, it was clear beyond a reasonable doubt that Ashley was guilty. She was immediately sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
The way she didn't blink, didn't cry. I don't understand how a human could be like that. Such an evil person.
Ashley took away the life of a young woman, the mother of an 8-year-old little boy who will never have his mother see him go through all the milestones in his life.
Ashley being in jail for the rest of her life, I think that's very justified. There's a child that doesn't have a mom. It was over something senseless as money.
We're glad that we got closure for Cassandra, Jeff, and Drake. They can work toward moving past this tragedy in their lives.
Drake growing up without his mom, I mean, it hurts, but he has his dad, so I know he'll grow up really happy and healthy. Taylor, who's a mother, she's a friend. She lived life to the fullest. I will always remember that about her.
A Willoughby mother murdered in her own home.
Tonight, police say the woman's foster child is to blame.
An unthinkable crime.
I can see blood on the blade. I can see blood on her.
Sabrina had stabbed Lisa 178 times.
The family forever changed.
Everything seemed so normal, and then this happens.
Recall coming out of the bedroom with a knife in your hand.
A twist no one saw coming.
Were you and Lisa in the process of going through divorce? Lisa, go on her.
Families have never been the best.
Investigators searching for answers in the interrogation room.
Why is he not cooperating with us? What is he hiding from us?